Hi guys, and welcome back to Rommel's Love Child's channel, and continuing looking at the Italian tanks. Now we're moving up into tier 3, so we're looking at the tier 3 medium, the only one in the line at the moment at this date, which is 3rd of June 2018, and we're looking at the M15/42. So let's have a little compare of this tank using the compare feature to the previous tank at the previous medium. So right click on the tank, add to comparison, then we're going to go into tech tree, and we're going to click on the Italian flag, and we're going to right click on the tier 2 medium and add that to comparison too. Click on the little balances here, and then we can have a look at it. There we go, click on that one. So I'm going to make sure that all of these things are selected to top configuration with the current crew, which is 75% crew, so I'm going to make sure that's on 75% crew as well, but with the top configuration, and apply that. And we'll notice that the firepower is better, and that's because your penetration is significantly increased from 52 mils to 70 mils, which is a big difference. It will help you greatly penetrate a lot more heavily armoured tanks. Average damage is still the same at 50, which is, okay, it's not too bad, it's not great either. Rate of fire increases to 25.33 rounds per minute from 21.34, which is a reload time of 2.37 seconds. And again, a good increase. Will increase your survivability. The turret traverse, much faster. It's gone up from 26.7 to 31.66, so essentially an increase of 5 degrees per second, which is good. Depression and elevation exactly the same. Aiming time significantly quicker, noticeable. And the dispersion a lot less as well at 0.41, and all that combined gives you an increased damage per minute. And if we look at these stats, particularly the aiming time and the dispersion, this makes this tank, the M1542, much better at sniping than the M1441. And we'll indeed see that when we look at the armours. You'll notice the turret armour has not increased from tier 2. The hull armour has increased at the front. It's gone up by 15 mils to 45, but that's still not going to reliably protect you from a lot of the tanks at tier 3, especially not the tank destroyers, which will punch straight through you. And so that gives us a slightly different play style. Mobility, significantly better. It's got a much more powerful engine, which gives it a greater acceleration, and it's also got better top speed and a better traverse speed. So it's quite nice altogether. Concealment is also significantly higher, and the spotting and the view range and the signal range significantly higher, which leads to this tank being more of a support tank than a front line tank, which the tier 2 medium was. If you look at the pictures, they're almost identical. In fact, the tanks, the hulls are exactly the same, turrets are exactly the same shape kind of thing, so it's obvious that they have come straight from just an upgraded version. So, you can still play it hull down by keeping your hull hidden and just poking up your turret and hoping that the slight slopes on the side will help you, but anything that hits you in this kind of area is going to go through at tier 3. Tier 2s will still bounce off you a little bit. The advantage of playing the hull down here is it will minimise the amount of target available. However, I would play this as a support tank, slash even a sniper tank, hiding more towards the back, the rear of the lines, because your armour simply isn't good enough, but your view range and your camouflage is fairly decent. However, do notice that when you're stationary, you get 25.79% bonus to your camo. As soon as you shoot, that drops to 7.48. Huge drop when you shoot. Okay, it's reduced obviously for tank destroyers, and so you're going to struggle to play this entirely as a sniper to stay hidden. But what you can do is sit further back, keep most of your tank hidden, just expose your turret, pop up, shoot, and then try and drop back and minimise the amount of target that they're going to shoot at. Over distance, a lot of things will struggle to hit the small target area of your turret. So, as I said, it's exactly the same setup in terms of the shape of the armour, so anything that hits you here may bounce, but then this area and this area, probably things are going to go straight through because it's flat. For your research, I strongly advise you go for the upgraded gun because it gives you a much better damage per minute. Once you've gone for that, you will have to go for the tracks before you can get the turret and the engine modifiers. Then, last of all, go for the radio. So, a little quick recap. Research first, the gun. Use free experience if you've got it. Then, the tracks. Then the turret for your increased view range. So you get a view range of 320 with the second turret and only 310, so it's an extra 10 meters. You also get an extra 2 degrees per second of turret traverse, which again can greatly increase your survivability in those one-on-one battles. Then last of all, get the radio. At tier 3, you're probably not going to need the increased signal range, but it's always nice to have it, and it will carry over to the next tanks. Okay, so the RF2C8, again, will go on the tier 4, but it'll be the starting one for the tier 5, but you know, it's worth researching. Okay, so we'll go and have a little look at some gameplay in a minute, and we'll have a little talk through the strengths and weaknesses during the game. Okay, see you in a bit, guys. And here we go, guys. We're in a tier 4 battle in Paris, so I'm bottom of the tier, although there's only tier 4 and tier 3. And looking at the tier rosters, I can tell that the things I'm going to struggle with to penetrate are the Matilda and the Valentine 2s, because they've both got really good armour. Apart from that, I don't really fear anything else. I know that the Matilda has got a really rapid fire, high penetrating but low damage gun. The T28 is a bit more high damaging. Type 91s I hate as a tank, so I'm looking forward to shooting them as much as possible. And then we've got the Marder 3 and the Su-76M on their team, who again I'm not looking forward to meeting. But I'm tier 3 in a tier 4 game, so I'm bottom of the tier. I don't want to be leading the front line. So at first, the reason why I'm hanging around here is in part so just grabbing a coffee, and also because I'm waiting to see where people go and what kind of angles people take, and then I can go and support them. Okay, that's my role as a lower tier tank in this one. Seeing as I'm not a light tank, a scout tank, my role is to support the other tanks. So I started going down here. The T15 has gone down there and he's spotted loads of people though, rich pickings. So I see the M2 medium and the Type 91. I'm already aiming there, so I'm going to go for the Type 91. He's got a decent gun, but he's got weak armour. In the end, I managed to put 3 shots into him, so I must hit him perhaps on this shot here. You can see I keep firing until eventually I see one of my shells explode on the window. When I see the shells exploding, I know there I'm missing the tanks. Now we come up against the Valentine, and I might pen him, but whereas this gun I said earlier can be used to snipe from a bit of range, it's not accurate enough to hit weak spots. And the Valentine 2 does have some weak spots. For example, its turret is a bit weaker. So I switched to high explosive, and I'm trying to take his tracks off. Unfortunately there, one of the problems with high explosive, it does not go through objects. So I keep trying with the high explosive. Eventually managed to do a critical hit, but it doesn't actually take his tracks out properly, but very shortly someone else does. And a hit there, which just resets the track for what it's worth. Then I decide I'm going to switch into heat and go for the side of the turret, and we'll notice there that the heat starts to reliably penetrate high explosive anti-tank. So I hit the Matilda for Valentine for 2 lots of 50 damage. Third shot misses because, as I said, inaccurate. So I pull back, see if I can work an angle on this Valentine 2. The M3 Lee is going hell for leather at him. I shoot one, bounces. Take a bit of a risk there, and it hits the M3 Lee. I should not have done that. That was a bad move. Bad Rommel. So at this point now, it's 8-2. We've almost certainly won. It's now time to start pressing up and thinking, can I get this MTLS 1G14 on the right hand side down at about J7? And as I push along, I'm thinking I might be able to snipe him if he survives long enough, but then he charges the Type 91 and I lose my line of sight. So I know there's a T29 up here on my left, and I also know there's a Marder 2 that's not been spotted, so I'm hoping I can find those. Panzer 1C spots the Marder, who wipes out the Panzer 1C. And I push forwards thinking I can maybe, if I get lucky, roll one-shot him. Fire, speculative shot, just as he's about to pull away, manage to hit him. Turns out to be a good thing because he shoots and damages me, and then I miss somehow with that shot. That's 229 starts rolling towards me. I can't really see him. I'm not aiming very well here. I should be aiming not at his tracks, but aiming flat at his body. He's doing the right thing, zigzagging there. I should be angling a bit there. He hits my commander. Important to repair him straight away. Use my increased rate of fire compared to him, and put my bullets into him, and finish the game with 2 kills and 470 damage. Okay, which is a WN8 of 2,123. Okay, I will probably try and do another upload with this tank because I've only played 2 or 3 games at it at this point, and I don't feel I've really got to hangs with it, especially as one of them, in chasing a enemy tank, managed to end up flipped on my side, and then my teammates who were nearby just drove off. Bastards. If you see a teammate flipped on his side, please help him. You know, it could be the difference between your team winning or losing. Anyway, on to the battle results. See you in a second. Hi, and there's the aftermath of this battle. As you can see, it was a victory. We knew that already. And I managed to get the 2nd class mastery badge, which is okay. It's not brilliant for someone who's been playing for as long as me. 5 for effects, of course, more damage to enemy vehicles than the hit points of my vehicle. I've destroyed 2 enemy vehicles that caused damage to me for duelist, and I've damaged more enemy crew modules, more than 5 or more times. So we can see that down here. So the Type 91, I killed the radio operator, damaged the track, hit him 3 times, and finished off all the rest of these guys, or did a lot of damage. So did 622 damage, which is reasonable down at tier 3. It's not to be sniffed at. You know, it's not amazing, but it's not to be sniffed at. Came 3rd in the team, despite being down in tier 3, and there were tier 4s. Plenty of some good tanks at tier 4, like the Lux is a great tank if played right. So there was an example of how you can play a tank in a lower tier, and that was only 1 tier below, but the premise is still the same. Stay back, let the others do the spotting, let the others do the brawling up at the front, and you support them from behind. What a good tank will do is, if you are supporting, sometimes they will target you and take you out because they know you're an easy target. They can take you out, they can take a gun out. But what I did there was I stayed hidden. I was firing down. I knew I was probably hitting something, firing blind down that alley, and so carried on. Anyway, cheers guys, remember to like, subscribe, share these videos, and I hope to see you soon.